But I guess Meltzer reported that this was all scripted. All the lines were approved beforehand. There were a few ad libs, obviously with Cena. When Reigns forgot his lines, Cena stepping in, and there was some dueling ad libs back and forth. But this was a scripted promo. I'm sure something like this has to be approved because you
Oh,
don't.
because Dave Meltzer knows everything. Dave Meltzer.
We'll get
What
into
a little dweeby is.
we'll get into Dave Meltzer very shortly. How does WWE / the Superstars Wrestling view the dirt sheets / wrestling quote unquote journalists like Dave Meltzer and whatnot?
Yeah, they're not fond of them, as you can imagine. And I think probably the reason they're not fond of them is because when those guys get the information that they get, which is always inside information that spoils the fun of what somebody is in the WWE is trying to put out there for the fans. That what the WWE has to realize is there's somebody, some rat, some mole on the inside that's working, that's on the payroll for the WWE that is giving the information to these guys. I mean, to these dirt sheets and to these Meltzers and guys like that. That's the only way that they can get that information. And so that's frustrating, and that's hard to deal with, and that's that would make anybody upset. If you and I were sitting down and for weeks writing some kind of a script for a movie or a TV show or something like that, and then it's going to be a big surprise to the public, and then I find out or you go out and leak it out to somebody that writes it, that puts it in a newspaper article, and so that everybody can see it before it comes out. It just spoils the fun of everything, and I'd be really disappointed in you if you leak that information out. And that's what goes on with these dirt sheet guys. They're just there as I've never understood their purpose. They're really 99% of them are people who are not athletes, have never been in the business. They can't really respect the business or even like the business of wrestling. Or they wouldn't do that, I mean, we all know it's entertainment, and when you're watching a TV show or a movie, and you just start watching it, if somebody comes along and tells you how it ends or what's going to happen in the show before it happens, that's spoiling it for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they call it spoilers, and that's all these guys are about. That's what they live to do, and I never could understand them, and I never liked him or had respect for him.
Would you call Meltzer a little dweeb? Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah.
So you don't like Meltzer at all, or just
no, not at all. But I'm never around him. I never see him or talk to him or anything. But I just don't like what he does.
But somebody has to be talking. I mean, has WWE ever done some stuff to find out who the leak is? Do they really care about that kind of stuff? Or
well, yeah, they care about it. Sure, they do. But it's. I guess when you got so many people working for you, it's hard to find who does that stuff. But then, I don't know. Then I think JR has done shows with Meltzer.
Yeah. I mean, I think people want to know the behind the scenes stuff because of, why.
Well, you know what? They only think they want to know.
Yeah.
They really don't. It really does spoil things for them when they know that. It would be much more fun to watch and much more entertaining if you didn't know that stuff.
Back in the day when I was in high school and the Attitude Era was prevalent, when internet was just starting, I would go to Raja.com, which was a website that did like recaps and whatnot, and I would only read the spoilers when SmackDown was taped, and if I didn't watch SmackDown or something, or I'm not going to watch SmackDown, I would read the day before spoilers of the tapings. But I can only imagine what it is to be like a wrestling fan now if I was a teenager and spoilers were just everywhere, all over the internet. It wouldn't be fun. But
no. And you know what? I remember back in the day, one of the first guys, and I loved him but I just couldn't understand the mindset of it or anything. But one of the first guys to start giving out a lot of the information to a friend of his, they put out one of the first quote unquote dirt sheets, was Eddie Gilbert down here in Memphis. He had some guy that he was a friend of his, and they put out these. I'll never forget. It was like a little. This was like you said, before the internet or computers or anything. He would put them out on a little 2 or 3 sheets of paper, and they'd staple it together at the top and mail them out to people.
What?
And so, oh yeah.
Wow. That's Well, what about people who, these journalists who report on things like news, like, okay, so and so was fired because of this, or so and so is suspended because of this. What do you, things like that, non spoiler stuff. Is that okay or no?
Well, are you talking about wrestling news?
Yeah, like the whole Page situation. Page is suspended, and people reporting things about her and Alberto Del Rio. Not no personal stuff, but also, she's not going to be.
What do you mean? Not yes. It is always personal stuff.
Right.
That's what they love to dig into.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that at all. I don't like that when they try to dig into somebody's personal life. I really don't. That's not part of the. Somebody should get to have a little privacy in their personal life. That shouldn't be all part of the business. But when things happen that you're responsible for, then it does become like news, or it gets your personal life out there in public, and then it can't be helped. But I don't like it when they just go and try to dig behind the scenes stuff that has no really news value or anything like that to be out there.
Yeah, so I enjoy Meltzer to a point. Some of the things, I like to know some stuff that's going on, but I can see why, someone like yourself in the business would call him a dweeb.